Hello everybody, it's CapCorgi. I wanted to make a special video. I normally make my videos when I go live on Twitch, but honestly, the news has been extremely insane about the new Escape from Tarkov patch. This patch has just gone, is just about to go live. It's not quite exactly live yet. What has been announced, we have the patch notes, we have all kinds of information, but most importantly, and what we will be talking about right now in this video, is that it looks like Escape from Tarkov is essentially going fully a pay-to-win. Now, what exactly does that mean? I am going to show you right now. The thing that's been announced is called the Escape from Tarkov Unheard Edition. Sorry, that was a bit of a misnomer. The edition includes some okay things, but some extremely egregious things as well. Now, some of my information might not be 100%, and I'll exactly describe what is being included in the new edition and why I think that this is a very, very, very bad sign for the future of Escape from Tarkov. But I'll also say which ones I'm not sure about, because a lot of these we actually don't have a lot of detail. So I'll give whatever information and context I have as and when it comes up in the list. We'll go through it right here together. So let's get on in it, guys. So the Unheard of edition is now available for purchase. Access to PvE co-op mode with persistent progression. Progression will not be reset with wipes. Now, this is actually very interesting. This has some plus sides, some downsides. Now, one of the plus sides is that we, as an Escape from Tarkov community, have been asking for this for years. I've only been a part of the community of Escape from Tarkov for about a year and, let's say, 9 months or so. So not super long, not much longer. I'm one of the newer players in the community for sure, but I've very much loved the game, all throughout. The co-op mode, the ability to play offline with your friends and have progression count, it's become so popular that there was even a single-player Tarkov mod, which BSG does not endorse. And now it's pretty clear why they've been so vocal about not endorsing that single-player mode. It's because they wanted to sell it themselves. So that's the downside of the fact that they wanted to sell it themselves. I'm glad they're doing it. However, what all is available on this list, and we'll be going through all the list as well, continuing all through, but right now, especially talking about this, the PvE co-op mode, this is not included in EOD. So anyone who has bought the has been supporting BSG from the start for any time prior to essentially right now, to the fullest extent. You got some various smaller but still viable and still real buffs to your character. You got some extra gear at the beginning. You got the stash tabs, stash space becoming larger, and some other various things. But besides that, it wasn't really like delineated between what EOD members get and what non-EOD members get in terms of game modes. We have, the offline, being able to go in with your friends for non-progression modes, as in like you can just go into a factory raid and try to go with people to do a factory raid kind of thing. Just along with your friends and try to talk tactics, things like that. That was something you could do only in EOD, but that wasn't really a huge deal. This is the first one that's like a really big deal. That and Arena, but Arena you could buy separately. This is not a separate thing. This is not like everyone has to buy this mode for $20. If it was, I would actually be completely fine with it. Buying just the persistent offline mode for $20 for every single owner of every single version of Escape from Tarkov would have been completely fine. But BSG decided to go for an extremely large cash grab, and we'll talk about the cost in just a few minutes, but we're not there yet. For quite a large cash grab, and it is a huge problem. Because EOD members were BSG's biggest supporters from the very, very beginning of Escape from Tarkov. This is the huge entire problem that I have with this entire situation. It's actually ridiculous that they decided to really, really dive again into the money pot, which is the entire Escape from Tarkov community, try to get more money. And they've been doing this, actually, little by little. We've been seeing the signs, and I'll show you those in a few minutes as well. But first, let's continue. So, enhanced stash tab, 10 by 72. I think this is relatively comparable to EOD. I can actually, let's find out. How much stash do we get as EOD members Tarkov? We can just confirm. 280. Oh, that's standard edition. 680. Okay. So it's almost comparable. Basically, it's 4 extra lines, which is something, but it is not too much. And so there is an upgrade here. So that's one way. The other way that they're making this kind of a more pay-to-win situation than a lot of people are comfortable with. And if you look on Twitter, you look on YouTube, you look on Pestly's talking about it, everyone is talking about this. It's very big news. The starting level of your character skills goes up. And this is for a lot of very important character skills. We'll look at the exact ones because we do have the notes on those. Actually, we can do that right now. Let's do that right now. We can scroll down. This is this page, EscapeFromTarkov.com/pre-order dash page or hyphen page shows you the exact ins and outs of some of these things, and here we go. We get attention level 3, which is something. Hideout management, this is something. Weapon maintenance, this is actually pretty key early game because that is basically your speed at being able to fix your weapon malfunctions and stuff. Attention is decent. Bolt action rifles and pistols, so those are the exact skills being upgraded. Pistols is not too big of a deal. Bolt action rifles, if you're a Bolty fan, I guess maybe, but if you're not, then it's not too gigantic of a deal. But still, this is a progression in terms of a slight pay to win. This is something that people have been talking about with there's been a question of, even from the relatively short time, under 2 years, that I've been part of the Escape from Tarkov community. We've had a question of, is Escape from Tarkov pay to win? And I've been very supportive of BSG. I'm an EOD member myself in still a very relatively short period of time. And as a relatively new player, I decided to support BSG because they stated that EOD will be the quintessential, you get this, you're supporting us, we appreciate you, you essentially get everything that will ever really come out for this game. Is essentially the promise that Nikita himself made. And we've seen this in interviews. Definitely look it up. You'll find it very, very easily if you don't believe me. But pretty much everyone is on the same page here, at least with the local discussions on the internet and everything. But this is what was thought. But no, we are actually getting a more egregiously, pay-to-win situations. And it'll get even worse and actually game-breaking stuff. Right now, it doesn't seem too bad. Besides the PvE co-op, and like I said, if we had this as a separate thing, and I hope BSG listens to this, and I hope they realize that, this especially is incredibly egregious, and maybe some of the balancing things later, I'll show you those. But this itself is egregious, and everyone should be able to at least, buy access to this. Because we want people to play this and not download mods to play single-player Tarkov, that kind of thing. If they said, $20, bam, everyone can do PvE co-op mode with persistent progression that will not be wiped. Basically, you don't have to do any extra work for it. It's just, we can do whatever we want with it. And it's kind of like a friends co-op adventure mode kind of thing, and they're not wiping, so they're not doing any work with it. They're kind of just shoving, probably going to be ending up to shove over all of the patch notes as they happen when they happen, and it won't really be any real extra work at all in any way, shape, or form for BSG. So this would essentially be free money for them, and everyone would be happy pretty much to pay, let's say, $20 for this PvE co-op mode. Now, the PMC pockets. This is an actual game-changing bonus. So what it is right now is in your PMC pockets, you have your rig slots, you have your backpack slot, you have your pouch slot, which is your gamma container, beta container, whatever edition of Tarkov you have. And then you have your pockets. Normally, that's a 1 by 1 by 1 by 1, as in it's each individual square. So it's 4 individual squares total. and you can put things like an S mark or a small bandage or whatever fits in a small 1x1 size box. Now the expanded PMC pockets are actually a lot more generous. So this is going to be so the two middle slots, and I've seen screenshots of this, are going to be 2x1. So you can fit anything from a Salewa in there to a car bandage, car medicine, or even like a 60-round magazine. And this becomes a very key thing later on when you're doing things like the Punisher quest, where you can only wear like a scav vest, and you have very limited ammo slots, or slots to put your ammo to be able to quick reload. This is where this comes in huge handy. This is again a relative convenience thing, but again starting to lean a little bit more on that pay-to-win side. Additional equipment and resources in stash. Now, some of these are pretty big. Some of them are not too big. We'll go through the list, or like quick through the list. It's pretty comparable between Bear and USEC, just like it is when you actually start your game or you have the EOD editions. You get certain things that are, comparable to each other. We all know this. So, Bears get the AKs, the USEC PMCs will get scars, things like that. So that's fine. That's not really a big deal. We do, however, get a lucky scav junk box, which is a huge boon for early game. Now, this is pay for convenience, but let's be real. For anyone who knows gaming, and I've been gaming since the very, very beginning of gaming, way before in N64 days, NES days, Super Nintendo days, all the way back when. Pay for convenience was never a thing there. Nowadays, we have different tiers of pay to win, and it is very clear, even with, great other games like Path of Exile, where you can't really buy direct power, but you can buy conveniences, which does help your gameplay. That is a form of lighter pay to win. This is exactly what that is. This is paying for convenience. Now, this also happened with EOD. You could buy your stash early, essentially. You could get your expanded stash much earlier. You get trader rep, you get other things. And that's why people were having the discussion about, for years and years, that I've been part of the community, only just a couple of years, is Escape from Tarkov pay to win? Technically, yes. However, it never felt really egregious. So now you get even more. You get the ammunition case, which costs a hefty bit, especially early wipe. Lucky Scav junk box is literally 1,000,000 rubles. A weapons case, which is, very, very expensive. I think it's like several million sometime during the early wipe. And you even just get free in-game money. And also you get a lot more ammo. Now, anyone who has been around for this most recent patch, you'll remember, if you think back to it, ammo is at a much higher premium early wipe nowadays. With the armor changes, with everything like that, people were struggling to get, because they lowered the drop rate of ammo in raids, they lowered the amount of ammo you could buy, they moved better ammo to later tiers, and so on and so forth. So, M856A1, for example, these 90 pieces, it doesn't seem like much, but that's very, very strong ammo for the earliest parts of the game. This will basically make sure that you win every early fight, for example. It's just, as long as you have those 90 pieces of ammo, you are just absolutely blowing through the fight. It'll cut through almost every single piece of armor. It's especially early game. It's a almost egregious level, but it gets even worse. And I know I've said this several times, but it really does. So we covered the PMC pockets, we covered the additional equipment and resources. Did they have the pocket size here? Because I was describing it to you, but I saw it via, okay, so they didn't really actually say it, but this is on the, I heard from Gigabeef about the pocket size. So my information about the pocket size, about it being 2 different 2x1 extra slots. So you have a 1x1, you have a 2x1, you have a 2x1, and a 1x1 in your pockets, as opposed to 1x1, 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 1x1. So this is information from Gigabeef. He's a very, great content creator and extremely in the know. He has a lot of contacts all around the community and, all kinds of stuff. So I feel like he's going to have the correct information. But my information for the pockets came from him. Unique game ID, that's cosmetic. I don't care. Now, this is a huge thing. Now, we'll look at this. The radio electronic item, unique, mark of the unheard. And there's no discussion on if this is an in-game item that you can get from a quest. If it is, this becomes a little less egregious. But if it is not, then this is quite a bit worse than it even sounds. So the mark of the unheard is a special slot item, which means it can't go away. You keep it in there. It'll never, get looted out or anything like that anytime you die or anything. This first part is not too bad, but it is a convenience. This is, again, pay to convenience. Item gives 50% discount when using cash services in raid. Now, what exactly does that mean? That means if you're taking the taxi, you have to carry less money on you, which is not too big of a deal. Rubles is not really the hardest thing in the game to get, so that's not the hugest deal. It gets a little bit more, more pay to conveniency on any map that has the BTR, because the BTR you can send home, send to your stash, not quest time, but like found in raid items, things like that. It becomes a lot more important there. Insured equipment returns 30% faster. That is not too big of a deal, but again, it is convenience, and it is convenience that no one else is able to get via quests or anything like that. But this last one, guys, is absolutely disgusting. And this is just, there was like a pay for convenience aspect that we're talking about. This is just straight up fucking pay to win. And I'm just going to say it how it is. You will never have me hold my words. I will never try to assuage, BSG's feelings or any other game companies. I regularly go on these discussions to tell you the real information right here with no bullshit. And this is where it is. With 6+ fence reputation, which is not hard to get, people have gotten 6+ fence reputation in a week. Very Bad Scav, for example, specializes in doing exactly this. Scavs won't shoot first at ranges over 60 meters away. Now, what does that mean? Sniper Scav won't try to kill you. This is in every raid. This isn't just offline. This is just offline in the new offline mode. I mean, that kind of just does not give a real experience, but it's like whatever. But this is huge, man. This is actually a pay-to-win style aspect of the game. Scavs are just all of a sudden going to shoot less at you. Especially, any scavs on the ground, but especially sniper scavs. Sniper scavs is one of the, I feel like, I call it the great equalizer. Whether you're high-geared, whether you're low-geared, if you're in sniper scav's sights, he can shoot you down if you're not careful. This will no longer be a problem with +6 fence reputation and buying the pay-to-win version. And I'm just going to call it what it is. It's fucking pay-to-win. Version of Tarkov. So that is, it's bad. It's bad. Now, we don't know the stats of the in-game unique melee weapon, but we do get a special in-game unique melee weapon. It looks pretty cool. If it's just cosmetic and it has, like, similar stats, I don't really care too much. But if it has upgraded stats, we will probably find out when the patch comes up. It is, as far as I know, the patch is not live yet. And they are probably subject to change some of these things, considering the level of outcry BSG is getting right now, and rightfully fucking so. Unique in-game armband. Don't care. That is completely fine. Anything cosmetic, it's annoying that there's so many cosmetics, especially now, but it's not really a big, huge deal. And this is like one of the least important things. Increased mail retention time. Again, pay for convenience. I guess like a relatively lighter version of pay to win, but it's not really bad at all. More slots in the flea market. This is actually a pretty important thing. We don't know exactly how many slots. Let me just confirm here. Just seeing if it tells you the amount of slots. No, it does. Wait. No, it just says more slots. So we don't know exactly how many slots, but you are only limited to 2 slots at the very, very beginning of the game, and you have to use the flea market to increase your slots, and it actually costs quite a bit of rubles in terms of putting up things, waiting. You know, it's a form of progression in the game. So you are paying for a form of progression by buying this version. This is actually a sizable increase in pay for convenience, but also rubles is, you know, money is power in this game. With more money, you're able to get more items, you're able to get better armor, you're able to get better weapons, and this is a power curve. This is absolutely a form of player progression power curve. And getting more slots at the very beginning will allow you to make that money extremely early game faster. Sorry about the phone call. I do apologize. This is, like I said, I'm doing this during my work hours, but I don't think my boss will mind too much. Increased fence standing. We don't know how much fence standing it'll give us, but this is over and above the extra rep we already get on EOD. So everything included here is well over and above EOD. This is always important to keep in mind. And once you look at the bonus you get from the increased fence standing, as in sniper scavs and any scavs above 60 meters, which are, you know, on some maps, that's like a lot of what you find. They just won't shoot at you first. You'll essentially get free shots. And also you will be targeted less when you're in a PvP fight, things like that. This is how it works. This will be a form of progression. You'll be able to get to that breakpoint of 6+ fence rep much faster. And it also makes a difference for, you know, progressing your character via doing scav runs and getting better scav gear early. And, you know, you can get lab cards early. You can get a lot of increasingly amazing items early game on scavs. It's actually a very viable way a lot of people play, is by leveling up their scavs early. Additional main menu background. Cosmetic, don't really care. Free access to all subsequent DLCs, a season pass. Now, this is a little thing that a lot of game companies do. Ubisoft is very famous for this. EA does this shit a lot. A lot of game companies do this nowadays, where they give you all subsequent DLCs. However, this was what we were supposed to get in EOD. I don't really mind that, you know, if this was, like, unique, but it is proven with this being an extra surcharge for this version of Escape from Tarkov, well over and above EOD, by literally $100. Where's the number? Yeah, I'm scrolling down. Yeah, an extra $100. I have EOD, so I can't purchase EOD. This is the number of USD. I think in euros it's 95 euros. But in dollars, it's $100 extra over and above EOD. So that is $250 that they're expecting people to pay. Because, you know, anyone who's going to want to have all of this, you know, very, very important stuff, especially the Mark of the Unheard and so on, I'm beside myself, because I've been a huge supporter of BSG. I've been a very vocal supporter for BSG in my relatively small corner of Twitch. And I'm a variety content creator who streams every night. And I only play one competitive shooter. It used to be several. I only play one now. And it's Escape from Tarkov. Why? Because I was a fucking idiot enough to believe Nikita when he said that besides EOD, there will be no pay to win. And that was like, you know, just pay for convenience, which, you know, is a form pay to win. But besides that, there would be nothing more. I believed him. Everyone in the community believed him. And everyone in the community talked about, like, oh, you know, it's a little bit, you know, you get extra rep with all these traders. You get some stash tabs, but you can still build the stash later on. It costs you some time, but, you know, it's not too big of a deal. And we all bought into it. And this free access to subsequent DLCs was a thing in EOD. We were promised that this was the final version, essentially, like the largest version. This is like, hey, you really support us. You really support what we're doing. We're trying to create in this crazy game, this new venture. At the time, there was no real other extraction shooters at the time, way back when Escape from Tarkov was first made. My friends were telling me about it like 6-7 years ago. And I said, no, until 2 years ago. And I bought the game then. And now we know that this little phrase here was complete and utter fucking lie. because this is essentially a DLC, this entire new version of Tarkov, and it was not included in EOD. This is so we don't know if this will even be a lie later on. Maybe they'll come out. Maybe BSG will come out with a, hey, we failed another version of a bonus that we want to do, and we'll talk about the whys. I'm making a little cut at them right here about I think BSG is doing this entire thing because Arena is a failure. Arena is a numbers failure. It cost them millions of dollars to make BSG, and they did not get any return. No one really fucking plays Arena. Why? Many reasons, but really Escape from Tarkov as a game, extraction game with long-term progression and everything, it's just a better game than Arena ever was, and they decided to reach for the stars and, you know, try to make another type of version of the game, taking away, by the way, dev resources from the game that you and I and every single other member of the community wants to have complete and not in early access for another several years. They took developer resources away from normal Tarkov and put it to a new game mode that was a failure. And they lost a lot of money out of it, and they know it. And that is why they're even selling this. That is why, if we look at the expansions tab on Escape from Tarkov, they started this type of dog shit situation with selling stash upgrades per line for $3. I think it was a total, if I do my math right, $42 extra. That's a lot of money. Paid for convenience, sure. But this is an extra price. It's not included in EOD, nothing like that. This is just extra shit. And same here, apparel. Now, apparel is not too big of a deal. It is cosmetic. However, we're not talking like World of Warcraft, where your cosmetics mean literally almost nothing, or League of Legends. Your skins mean pretty much almost nothing. And any skins, for example, in League of Legends, that is, you know, provides a, I guess, like a hidden advantage in terms of it makes your skill shots harder to read or anything like that. It's not allowed in tournaments for that very reason. And that's why no one really has a problem with the skins and so on, for example, in League of Legends. However, that's not the case in Escape from Tarkov. I have used, in order to beat the dog shit quest that we all hate, setup on customs, I have used during the winter season of the game this patch, this most recent 14.0 patch, because they made setup a lot earlier in the quest progression. I used you know, like the white jacket and like the lighter colored pants and everything to kind of hide myself in the snow a little bit better. Guess what? It fucking works. Apparel in this game, cosmetics in this game are actually a solid power boost if the situation is correct for it. Why do you think Woods mains wear green? It's the exact same reason. So yeah, this is, and then it gets one more much worse as well. Because, you know, BSG couldn't leave all of this on the table and say, you know what, this is all we want. No. There's another major, huge issue here. Access to early test server. Now, before this, early test server was only open to very, very few people, and the early test server was also under essentially, it's not quite an NDA, it's not that strict, but what amounts to an NDA. And that's why, you know, every single person waits for the patch in terms of Glorious E, in terms of Pestily, in terms of Gigabeef, and everyone, before they describe what is in the new patch. This was a bit of an equalizer, as well as, you know, a way to control the information and control, and this is not a bad thing. I actually don't blame BSG for this at all. Being able to control the flow of who knows what exactly when for an extremely competitive game. Not a problem to do that. I actually don't mind that ETS, early test server, is locked behind kind of like an invite and you know, this like mini version of an NDA. However, now it's open to everyone who pays the pay-to-win version. So guess what? Every single person who is super competitive about this game will be feeling FOMO and manipulated. These are extremely common marketing tactics in video games. Ubisoft, EA, all these dog shit companies that I never expected to put BSG next to their name. These are things that they do. And now early test server is another form of manipulation to get people to spend an extra $100 a total of $250 in order to get this very important information early and be able to make maybe even make content for it. I don't know how if the NDA is going to change or anything like that, but still, it doesn't really matter. If the top 100 Tarkov players are all buying this version, that means they'll have access to the what are going to be the patch notes and the huge big changes in the patch much earlier than literally everyone else. Even if they can't, write about it, make content about it or whatever, it's still another very direct form of pay to win, because you are paying for the privilege of getting your information far earlier. And in a game like Tarkov, we all know it, knowledge is power. I expect better from BSG, and you should too. I have been a huge proponent of BSG in my small community, and anyone I talk to, random people, dozens of people, first thing I say whenever I'm raided is I always talk about all of the variety I play, and I say the only competitive game I play is Escape From Tarkov. Why? Because Tarkov is the most fair style of FPS I've ever played, except for cheaters. And that was my only downside, the cheaters. It was, cheating is a big problem, and it was very annoying and so on and so forth. However, now I can't say that. This game is just straight up fucking pay to win now. And that doesn't even include the future item that's planned. Oh my god, I almost forgot. I do apologize. In future updates, this version, this pay to win version of Tarkov will include a new unique zone to the hideout. We don't know what that is, but you can be rest assured it's going to be something that is going to actually have power, because if this item didn't exist, and if this item that we're going to discuss right now, the distress signal device, didn't exist, and the extra pocket slots didn't exist, and so on and so forth, I wouldn't really mind too much. I'd feel like the unique zone is probably going to be another cosmetic thing, like a trophy case or whatever, something extremely negligible, just something to make you happy, make you see, blah blah blah. But now I can't say that. We don't know what the unique zone is, but it might very well be pay to win at this point, because everything else in here, a lot of these things are egregiously bad. And this final, just the cream on top of the cake, the extra, buttercream frosting on top of the fucking cake, is the unique item, the distress signal device. It's not implemented yet, but it will be. When this item is activated, it produces a bright flash as well as a loud sound signal. Now, that's not really a big deal. I don't really care about that part. It's actually a little bit of a downside. If someone doesn't know where you are, this is actually kind of a little bit of a homing signal for anyone trying to kill you. But this part is, once activated, all players on your friends list will receive a notification that they can join your raid to help you. So this takes all real competitive integrity of a singular raid out the fucking window. If you're in labs and you're doing like a crazy hard labs raid or something like that, you're against a whole bunch of sweats, and you've opened the special keycard doors, and it's like, oh my god, some bonkers loot, and you need to get out alive with this loot. Call your friends. You paid $100 extra. You can call your friends. They can join you. You go to streets, and you find Colante in this early wipe, and you can get that sweet loot, extremely early game, or you are on progression for a super hard quest where you need a find and raid item, and you've been doing this quest for 10 times in a row, and you're like, oh my god, I just need to get out of this raid. You can now call your friends. You don't have to sweat it out. You don't have to, try to be safe and, play smart and everything like that. You can just pay to win bullshit call your friends. Why? Because BSG has thrown competitive integrity out the fucking window. This game used to be a bastion of non-pay to win when it came down to it. The EOD gave you, at most, decent amounts of conveniences, and that's it. But now, we are at the new dawn, guys. We're at the dawn of actual pay-to-win Tarkov. And it is a very, very sad day, and I sincerely hope everyone continues talking about it. The verbal and written and video level shellacking that fucking BSG is getting, they deserve every single bit of it. Nikita talked to Pestily for 2 hours And Pestily is easily one of the best content creators I've ever seen in any game, but he's absolutely a bastion of integrity in Escape from Tarkov. Talked to this bastion of integrity for 2 hours in an extremely in-depth interview and never talked about pay to win once. This was, and there's no way BSG thought of this in 9 days or whatever it was since the Pestily interview. This was not in the lexicon. They knew they were doing an update. They even said they were going to have another version, blah, blah, blah. He didn't go into any details, and all he confirmed was that at the most, the gamma container was the largest size. That was it. Yeah, sorry, yeah, gamma container right there. So that at least was real from what Nikita said. However, everything else he said about it, and he was extremely tight-lipped, we now know why. He was holding this in because he knew what he and fucking BSG were doing. They were trying to make a cash grab just to make up money for Arena. That is my read on it, and this is why I know this. Every single company that does a gigantic financial failure of a decision, they do this. For example, if you're a Total War player, you might have noticed that Total War Warhammer 3, which is one of the best strategy games of all time, had a gigantic issue where all of a sudden the DLCs were getting smaller and the prices were going up. And a lot of people didn't really know until, me and several other content creators, took the wool off everyone else's eyes, because we're in the know. I understand business. I literally work in business. That's why I know and I cover a lot of these things. They lost an absolute boatload of money, 100 to the tune of 150 to 250. We're not sure the exact number. $1 million for a failed launch, a game that they were trying to develop, a games as a service game called Hyenas. It didn't end up working out, and as a result, CA, an otherwise decent company that makes really good and some very unique strategy games, the Total War series, decided to push that cost onto consumers of their other games. Shit rolls downhill. So the people who are playing their successful games, the good ones, the ones that we want to play, we now got the shit rolled down onto us. Same thing here. Arena failed. Arena is not a good game mode. It is basically a dog shit arena shooter that no one really wants to play, and has incredible issues even to this day. And it's been out for what? Over 6 months? Over 6 fucking months? And they still can't get their shit together? BSG? I don't even care about the fact that they can't get their shit together. However, I care that it lost so much money and developer resources that they decided to make more and more pay to win right after the extent of their failure was known. They spent money on marketing. They spent money on, taking content creators out to shooting ranges and creating like all these experiences with the huge and extremely extravagant booths at every single, GamesCon of whatever kinds, like so on and so forth, over and over again for like the past year, just to showcase Arena. They spent a lot of money trying to get Arena off the ground, and it was a failure, and we're now paying the price. Fuck BSG for this. Straight up, you should be as pissed off as I am, and we'll see if they change. We'll see if they change. Sorry to be a little harsh, but like I said, I get a little heated, and I'll always tell you it like it is. This is a slap in the face to every single EOD member, including me, including everyone else, and everyone is rightly pissed. Anyways, I wanted to give you the heads up on what was going on. I haven't even covered the patch notes. The patch notes, honestly, I'm so fucking sour about this that I don't even care what the fuck the patch notes are. Like, I don't care about the armor penetration right now. I don't care about the body hitbox. I'll cover it maybe tomorrow. But right now, this is all I care about. This is all anyone's talking about because of how bad it is. I hope you guys have a great day, and let's see how the patch ends up. Maybe, BSG will run this change back, seeing how directly unpopular it is, but we don't know that yet. Anyways, if you guys enjoyed the video, give it a like, give it a sub, share it with your friends. I try to cover as much detail in these things as I can, especially game news, and I also try to put in my real-world information about business, about how business works, about how game businesses work as well, things that are relatively unique to this niche that a lot of people don't really cover. So if you guys like that, I also do stream every single night on Twitch at around midnight Eastern Time to about 7 a.m. Eastern Time, literally every single night, full variety. We play, of course, Tarkov, but I play all kinds of other games, Fallout and roguelikes and platformers and Soulsbornes and everything. You name it, my friends, we play it all. Have a great night. See you tomorrow. And thank you so much for enjoying this diatribe with the Corgi crew. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'm glad I was able to give some information, even though I am the bearer of bad news. Take care, guys.